Assalamu alaikum daisies! I hope you're all doing really well, inshallah. Today I am doing a summer look for you inspired by my coral hijab. I say summer, although midway through filming the day suddenly went dull. I love our country. A lot of you have started to request recently for me to do accompanying makeup tutorials for the looks that I do in my videos. So today I thought that I would just do one video showing you a summer makeup look together with this very summery hijab. The idea behind the makeup look is to firstly avoid using a base or foundation, tinted moisturizer, whatever you use on your face, and instead to use just concealer, literally just for some spot concealing. So we do have a full face of makeup, but I've tried to keep it to a minimum so that your face doesn't seem overly loaded with products for the summertime when you want to go for more of a fresh face look. I'm going to start off with an eyeshadow pencil. Lots of companies do this sort of product. The one that I have is by Charlotte Tilbury. Anytime I want to go for a brown eye kind of look, I use this either as a base or just the stick by itself, and it's so easy to use. You can see it's very soft, so I've coloured in until just under the socket of the eye. I'm going to take a brown colour from the Sephora Pantone palette, dab this MAC 224 brush in very, very lightly to blend out the edge. And that's all I'm going to need actually. I'm not going to go in for any more. So I'm starting off here at the deepest part of the socket and just blending to the left and right so that the edge is not as harsh. Now I'm going to go back to the eyeshadow stick and line under the lower lash line. Excuse the funny face that I make when I do my eyes. Build up the colour quite a bit. And I'm not going all the way to the inside. I'm just sticking to the outer 3/4, I guess, of the eye. Now I'm going to take the MAC Coffee eye pencil and I'm going to tight line along the top. And I'm also going to take that along the bottom lash line as well. Wiggle, wiggle along the lash line, build up the colour. And I'm going to do this quite a bit because I want the brown to be as strong as possible. There we go. Now keep this pencil to hand because we're going to need it really quickly in a moment. I'm going to add a very thin line along my top lashes because I want a tiny bit more definition there. This is the Rimmel Glam Eyes, which has a very, very thin eyeliner applicator. And I'm going to create an extremely thin line as I'm talking, so it might smudge a bit. Let's hope not. I'm not going to wing it out or do anything fancy. I just want a tiny bit of definition at the lash line, and whilst it's still wet, I'm going to go back to the brown eye pencil and smudge out the black a little bit and just thicken up the outer third, I guess, of that eyeline. What's going to happen is that black eyeliner is going to mix in with this brown eye pencil and it's just going to stick better and it's not going to smudge as much or as easily. Time to curl the lashes. The mascara I'm using is the Benefit They're Real mascara, which is supposedly one of the top selling mascaras in Sephora, I think. I'm sure I saw it on their shelf and I was in there. Right, now we're going to move on to the face. Now I already have moisturizer on. However, by the way, excuse the drilling, we have some housework going on. Thanks, Herbs! We are going to add some SPF. He's like, for what? We're going to add some SPF. Certainly in the summer though, especially if you're going to be spending time outside, you must make sure that you are putting some SPF on your face. This is actually a kid's sunscreen. It's SPF 50, provides immediate protection, which is good, so you don't have to put it on then wait 15 minutes before you can go outside. I use this kids one because it is the only thing that I didn't think I had sensitive skin, but apparently my skin is sensitive to sunscreen. So it's the only thing that my sunscreen sensitive skin can handle. In other words, it doesn't make me break out. I've tried other brands before and they make me break out quite badly actually, and my skin isn't even that sensitive generally with anything really, so it's got to be really, really quite pore cloggy if it makes me break out. As you can probably see, sunscreen tends to go on with a white cast, and because I'm using lighting as well, that does worsen that effect. Anything with SPF in it tends to have quite a bad flashback. In other words, it can make you look like a ghost face. With this one, however, I love it because yes, it goes on quite sort of whitish. However, in about 15-20 minutes, it sinks into the skin really well and that cast goes away. So it does blend in with the skin quite quickly. Alright, so it's been about 15 minutes since I applied the sunscreen and you can see that it's blended in and soaked into the skin really nicely, so we are going to move on. I'm not going to apply any foundation today. It's a summer look and sometimes we don't want all that stuff on our skin. So now I'm going to take some concealer. I'm going to apply it under my eyes, around my mouth, around my nose, a little bit on my forehead there. I'm going to let that sit there for a couple of seconds because allowing concealers like this, liquid concealers, to sit for a couple of moments makes them a little bit more opaque. Then I'm going to take this travel foundation brush by Smashbox and blend out the concealer in those areas. You've got to make sure that it's blended out really well, especially along the edges. Because we're not going to use any foundation, it needs to look seamlessly at one with the skin. So make sure that you sort of, I do this motion, like a feathering out kind of motion. Be careful around the eyes because you did put that eyeshadow under the eyes. Now I'm going to take some bronzer. This is the Armani bronzer, which I've had forever. I want to add just a little bit of colour and bronzing to the face. So I'm going to take this under the cheekbones. I'm going to also take it along my jawline here, around my face. This will add a little bit of dimension to the face because that SPF, I know on camera, is going to look quite garish. And if you're going to go out and take pictures as well, you do want to add a little bit of bronzer onto your face if you're wearing SPF. Of course, if you're just going out and you're not having pictures taken and it's just a casual day out, then you don't have to. And in person it looks fine, but with any kind of flash or any kind of direct light hitting the face, it will kind of wash out all of your features. With whatever's left over, I'm just going to brush it across my forehead and across the rest of the face. It's a teeny tiny amount. Make sure your brush is not loaded when you do this part, otherwise you're going to end up with a giant bronzed up face. Whatever's left over, that's all I'm adding to the rest of the face, just to put some colour back on there. No summer look is complete without a little bit of highlighting. I'm going to take this Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector, a pump of that. Then I'm going to take a tiny bit of pigment. Now this pigment is called Off the Radar. I have no idea where, when, how I purchased this. Actually, I must have done it online. I've dipped my finger in, caught a little bit of the pigment, and I'm going to push that into the top of the Shimmering Skin Perfector. It's just a teeny tiny amount. We're going to start off with a little bit. The rest of it is on my finger, and I'm going to take the back of this brush, which I've cleaned, the brush we're going to use, and I'm going to mix it in. You want to add in the pigment gradually, okay? Don't add too much in one go because it will look very clownish otherwise on your face. So I'm mixing it all in, and as I'm mixing it, I'm spreading it across my hand because it's going to give a better distribution of the highlighter on my brush. Dab, 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 like 3 times. We want just a tiny, tiny bit, and I'm going to apply that in a stippling motion across the top of my cheekbone. I want a tiny bit of colour, nothing too much, just across the top of the cheekbone. This will give a slightly peachy sort of glow to the skin since the pigment's actually quite orange. Since we've used a tiny amount and mixed it in with the opal coloured highlighter, it's created a nice peachy sort of colour. Okay, and that's it. We're not going to apply this anywhere else on the face because the sunscreen is starting to get a little bit glowy, I can tell. So we're going to mattify it. This is the Chanel Natural Finish Loose Powder. I've had this forever. You guys have probably seen me use it in every single makeup tutorial. I'm dipping this very stained makeup sponge into there, and now I'm going to very gently place it, not rub it or blend it or anything like that. I'm just going to place it under my eyes, like that. I know it looks like a lot right now, but I'm just going to place it under my eyes and anywhere else where I've got some shine going on and I don't want that shine. Take the back of that sponge and just blend it out and wipe away the excess at the same time. This will not only hold that concealer in place that we applied earlier, but take away that excess shine from the SPF. Finally, we're going to finish off with the lips. Now, I've already applied some Blistex. However, I actually need to buy an SPF lip balm. If any of you know of a lip balm that contains SPF, a good moisturising one, then let me know. Sometimes I'll take some of the leftover SPF that I used on my face and just dab it on my lips, but that's not a very nice feeling. So please let me know if you know of any. Okay, I'm going to fill in the lips with this lip pencil. This is a peachy pink lip pencil by Charlotte Tilbury. It doesn't actually say the shade on the pencil, but I am going to annotate everything. The really nice thing about this is that it's not drying on the lips, which nobody wants. Now that the lip pencil is applied, I want to mute the colour just a tiny bit. Can you tell how much of this I've used? This is the Revlon Matte Lip Balm. If you want to see a full review and my thoughts on these, then check out my blog. That's our makeup look complete. Let me go and put my scarf on. Do you guys want to see? Do you want to see how I put on my scarf? This is the usual look that I do. A lot of you ask me how I tie my hijab, and it's always the same way. It looks different because I change it in tiny ways, like adding an extra fold or putting one less fold or twisting the scarf or doing something that is, I guess, negligible if you look at the whole picture of how I'm tying the scarf, but I'm going to show you anyway. Okay, I'm going to add 2 slides to each side, like so.
Say hi!
Oh, hi! Weren't you making something for me a minute ago? Flipping over the hijab. I'm going to take this part of the scarf around, like so. And then I just sort of put the folds around my face at this point, whilst holding the other part with my hand. And then sometimes I leave this bit hanging over here, sometimes I tuck it and put it inside my top. Sometimes I fold it around like this. This is what I usually do in my videos because it's just easier. I don't have to turn around and show you guys what I'm doing with it, because at this point the neck is showing. Here's a pin. I'm just going to pin this down. I'm going to take the other side and bring it around. I'm going to take it around quite tightly around the front. Not going to have low drapes today. Let's have some tighter drapes today, like that. And this part, let's twist it today, shall we? And let's fold it up like that. Yeah. Okay. Something a little bit different for you. So here's a no snag hijab pin, which I'm going to pin from the inside, like so. And just add some pins to hold it in place. So let's put a pin here, on this side, and one on this side. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video, and I shall catch you very soon in my next one. Take care of yourselves. Toodles!